So, since I'm apparently in the mood to talk about my favorite movies in a particular horror franchise, let's start now with Saw. My top 5 favorite Saw movies. There's only been 7, so I know this might sound like a funny list to do, but what the hell, let's do it. At number 5, Saw 4. Saw 4, you could say that when I first saw this movie, I wasn't too happy about it, too thrilled about it. But over time, I think I've grown to appreciate it a little bit more. And probably because the 2 movies that aren't on this list, I just think are worse. But I like that we get Lieutenant Rigg, who is now the main character, and he's so distraught over trying to save Donnie Wahlberg's character that he's desperate. He's willing to do anything. And the series of tasks that he has to go through, the girl who was getting her hair pulled back, that was pretty intense. Okay, the ending is the only thing that I don't like about it, really. And when I say ending, not the twist. I think the twist of the fact that this is going on at the same time as Part 3 was creative, and I didn't see coming. But more so that Rigg, all he had to do was not make it to Donnie Wahlberg in time, and that would have saved him. I thought that was kind of lame. Hoffman being the next apprentice, I don't want to say that I was shocked by it, but what it ends up turning into the later movies, I thought it worked. At number 4, Saw 6. In Saw 6, I think by this point the franchise really had no right to be as good as this movie was, but it brought new life into the series, not just the ongoing plot of Hoffman trying to avert the detectives who are trying to figure out who the new Jigsaw is, but more so the other plot with the insurance company and the head of the company, the guy who denied Jigsaw coverage because the probability of him surviving the treatment wasn't likely. He has this formula to basically decide who lives or dies. So why not? Why not put this guy in a series of Saw traps and see how he does, how he survives? And seeing him almost have to choose which one of his own workers gets to live, especially that merry-go-round trap. Wow. How creepy, how memorable, and how entertaining was all of that. At number 3, Saw 2. Saw 2, I like a lot. I think it's one of the most underrated Saw movies in the series because you could say that all it is it's a bunch of people trapped in a house and the infighting that goes on. But I thought that's what took this to a different level. They could have copied the same plot from the first movie, but they did something completely different, in my opinion. And I really liked the introduction of Eric Matthews, the Donnie Wahlberg character, because he was this hard-ass cop, maybe not the greatest person in the world, but how many cops are? Let's be honest. And the fact how he had this much history, and he had the falling out with his son, which caused his son to be kidnapped and put in this house with all of these criminals that he put away, I thought was interesting, and how Jigsaw was constantly baiting him just to talk. Let's just talk, but he couldn't do it. He had this temper. He was flipping out. I get so amused by every time Donnie just curses and flips out and punches and beats the shit out of Jigsaw. It's some of my favorite stuff in this movie. At number 2, Saw 3. Man, I love a lot of things about Saw 3. It's one of those deals where if they had stopped with Saw 3, it would have been a perfect cap-off. It would have been a perfect trilogy, in my opinion. I love that you get Jigsaw basically on his deathbed. I mean, he could die at any minute. You have the Dr. Lynn there, who Amanda just hates just because, and Shawnee Smith is great in this movie. She goes through so many dimensions of the character. In one scene, you feel bad for her. In the next scene, you get afraid of her because she's fucked in the head. And she's suicidal. She can't really be trusted. And Jigsaw is trying to help her, trying to mold her into taking over. And she just can't do it. And I also liked following the Jeff character, who he lost his son in a freak accident, so he's all messed up by it. And he's basically confronting everyone that was involved in this, the judge, the witness, and the guy himself who accidentally hit his son in the car. It's a lot of emotional stuff going on for a horror movie that probably didn't need it, but this is the type of writing, this is the type of care into scripts that I appreciate, that I would love more of in horror movies. But for my number one favorite Saw film in the series, it's probably not a surprise by now, but it's the very first Saw movie. And you could say that compared to all the other ones, it's the least amount of gore. But I love the simplicity of the plot. You have Dr. Gordon and Adam trapped in this bathroom. They don't know what's going on. They're trying to figure out who each other are, what the connection is, why they're there, who put them there. And then the flashbacks of Gordon telling who Jigsaw is, past victims, and how it's all connected, what his MO is. I found all of that fascinating. I even liked how over time you see how these characters they're not who they say they are, really. They have, especially Adam, he knows a lot more to the story than he's letting on. You have Danny Glover as the police officer, the detective, who, seeing him become so crazy and hell-bent on catching Jigsaw, I loved all of that. And then Zepp being, I guess, forced to kidnap Gordon's wife and daughter. But when I say forced to do it, he kind of gets off on it. So much creepy stuff going on. It's a lot of good, rich stuff in this film. I love it. I can watch it so many times. And I can never get bored. I can never not love that ending. One of the best endings to any horror movie. Anyways, guys, that's my top 5 favorite Saw movies. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think? What's some of your favorite? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!